Razer Z1 headlight. Alright, so we're going to kind of work our way from the front of the light to the back and go over every feature and little thing. There's a lot of things on this light that are different than anything else on the market. So I think they deserve going over in depth. From the very front, you've got your light. Looks like a lot of other lights. The bracket itself, though, is much different. It was milled specifically for this light, and it bolts in from the side, and it's a very robust mount. That doesn't have any rivets or anything. It bolts in to hold that bracket down from the inside of the bump cap itself. It doesn't have, I'm going to call it a tongue and groove type of mount that a lot of lights, pretty much every light has right now, that can come loose and come undone. On older or other lights that I've got, you know, if the light gets tipped upside down, especially on like a hotter night, it's not hard for that light to kind of slip out of the actual mount itself, which is kind of annoying if you're trying to put it back together, you know, in the woods or you know, right before you go out on a hunt or something. It's not that hard, but still slipping it in and having it slip out easily is annoying, and with this it cannot happen. You can still move and toggle the light itself, so it can still face different directions if you wanted it to, but you can feel how much more solid and rigid the actual light itself is. Working our way back to the battery pack is also bolted on from the inside of the bump cap. So there is no mounts, there's no hot glue, there's no brackets, it's just the battery pack, 2 bolts that go from the inside and are flush mounted. So you can't feel either of those bolts from the inside of the bump cap at all. And what that lends is a lot simpler design, so it's nicer looking, and there's nothing that can get loose on this. There's only 4 bolts that hold everything on, 2 for the battery pack, 2 for the actual light. So there's a lot less hardware, there's no rivets, it's just bolts and brackets as minimally as possible. Because of all of that, the light itself is one of the lightest on the market. And it does so while still having such incredible performance with the different LEDs that are in this light. When you put the light on the first time, you're going to notice how well balanced it is. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall back. It's not, you know, back or front heavy. That's really cool. Other lights that I've got and that I've used, it kind of feels like when you're looking up in a tree, like the light's just going to fall off, and maybe that's going to vary depending on how much hair you have and how big your head is, but for me that was something that I noticed right off the bat, being very comfortable with the Razer compared to others. The switch is a very solid, firm, and heavy-duty switch. From neutral or off, twisting back away from your head, you're going to have your low walk light, your medium walk light, and your high walk light. These are all going to be a very bright white that you're used to, and they're incredibly bright. When you're walking with a cast in the woods and everybody else has their bright walk lights on, it almost seems like yours is the only one lit up because it's so much brighter than every other light that I've compared it to side by side during casts. So once you go back to the off position, going forwards, you're gonna have your low red, you're gonna have a high red, then you're gonna have your low spot and your high spot. This was also something that was a part of the design that was very well thought out by Razer. You don't have a bunch of unnecessary clicks. I don't know how many people are using their, you know, level 2 or 3 red. It seems like you're either going to use the low or level 1 red, or you're going to use high level 4. So 2 and 3 are just unnecessary clicks, and they don't really serve a purpose. The orientation of the light being walk light in the back, and then kind of you know, maybe what you'd call your business lights in the front, is nice when you're in a cast shining a tree, because most of the time when we're sitting here shining, you know, you're gonna go red and then maybe you want to bright the tree, so your spot is only 1 click away from your red. You don't have to cycle through a whole bunch of clicks to go, you know, from your red all the way back here, all the way, whatever it is, you know, 6 to 10 clicks forward to get to spot. It is red, spot, you know, spot, red. And that's really cool. The red itself is probably the coolest thing when you compare it to other lights. If you're walking around in a cast, the walk light is brighter than everything else that I've seen so far. The red is, I never really was a big red light user. I almost always just used your walk light or my spotlight when I'm shining trees. But the red light in the Razer Z1 is so bright that you can, I was in a cornfield the other night, and I was about 650 yards away from the tree line, and I could sit there with the bright red and shine and find coons all across the tree line on that field edge. And you could see eyes just popping out everywhere. And with previous lights that I've had and used, while they were bright, it wasn't even, this kind of blows it out of the water. When you compare this bright, even the low red to other companies and other lights, high red, it doesn't even seem like the other lights are on. The brightest setting red on this it's really, really impressive. The spotlight is interesting because it's a lot more of a warm light. It's a lot softer on your eyes, which is nice. It doesn't wash out the whole tree. I've kind of went back and forth with the spotlight and when shining trees, sometimes I use the walk light just because it is so bright, but it kind of blows out the whole entire tree. The warmer spotlight is nice because when you're looking for a coon that maybe isn't going to show its eyes to you, the warmer spotlight picks up on its fur just a little bit better is what I've noticed. When you're shining it, that warmer, 4,500 Kelvin temperature light, it refracts light off the coat a lot easier for you to see. But also if you're sitting there shining the tree and you're switching back from red and spot, it doesn't seem to, maybe I've got sensitive eyes, but the going from red to spot, it isn't as harsh on your eyes staring at it for 8 minutes every few minutes on a cast. And that is also really, really nice. The light is a lot more usable. If you know much about lighting, sometimes the brightest light isn't always actually practical or useful for our eyes to be able to see. Sometimes a little bit lower down, closer to that 4,500 to like 5,200 Kelvin, our eyes are able to pick up and use that light a lot more than 6,000 plus. The 6,000 plus is nice on the walk light because you can see everything in front of you really well. And if you're trying to shine a tree that doesn't have any leaves on it or places for the coon to be hiding, it does a good job just washing that whole tree down, and you can pick up on it pretty quick if it shines its eyes at you. But I like the spotlight if we're just looking for fur. On the bottom side of the battery, you're going to have your switch for your laser. That's also a very robust and very confirming click. I didn't have a laser on my other lights, and that's something that I really wanted to have in a new light. Especially when we're making videos, sometimes it's really obvious for us to be able to see the coon, and sometimes either the camera can't pick up on it, or maybe your judge and your cast just can't find it, and you're shining the light and shining the light, shining the light, can't see it. But once you put a green laser on it, a lot smaller dot to be able to miss. Sometimes it can help it pop out a little bit more. So that was something I was really excited to have in this light, and having it in a location as convenient as on the bottom side, and it's in a recessed pocket. It's really hard to accidentally click it on if it's sitting in the truck or whatever on accident and have it burn itself out or burn the battery out. The only thing that I wish and maybe hope to see in future Razer lights would be a battery meter on the back side that shows how much battery life you have. I have a light from another company that my favorite thing about that light is the fact that it has the battery bar on it, so I can tell if I need to put it on the charger or not. So far I've used this light for about, I think, 10 times going out. I haven't charged it in, I think, let's see, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. So we hunted for 6 hours on Saturday night, and I hunted for about 2 hours last night, and then about 2 hours on Thursday night. And I still have not had to charge it. And I'm gonna put it on the charger after doing this, just so I don't get left in the dark tonight. But it is, the battery itself is, I have no complaints, and I've flipped through everything and used a lot of it. Something that Razer touts too that I was interested to see was how tough the actual vinyl decals are. You don't want to have a light that the decals fall off the first night you go out. But with this light, I've kind of put it through the ringer, smoothed out treed. Actually put a coon in a hole the other night during a hunt, and I had to walk through this through this nasty briar patch, and the light got pretty scuffed up, but the actual vinyl decals themselves are untouched, even if everything around it is scratched and some with some deep gouges on it. That's cool because I want everybody to know what this light is. And while it has it on the battery, having these decals on the side that I think are going to last for a while stands out compared to the competition. And while the bump cap might look the same as a lot of the competitors' lights, and even the light itself, you might at first glance think, you know, it's just the same kind of parts and pieces. It's not. It's in every single way from the front to the back, and everything inside is different. The thought that went into designing this whole light to get that balance right, to get those clicks, you know, exactly what we need and what we want is not only super well thought out, but it's a very efficient light. It's the lightest weight light that I can find, but it feels the most heavy duty. And having that perfect hybridization of lightweight and comfortable and super heavy duty, robust and strong is exactly what you want, and something that you're going to be taking out into the woods and putting through the ringer every night. So what do you guys think? I think the Razer Z1 is a pretty awesome unit. Like I said, with everything being thought out and designed by a coon hunter for a coon hunter for a practical, you know, competition style light, I don't really think there's anything worth complaining about with this thing. It is about as solid as it comes. Looks nice. I like the all black everything, and I'm excited to get out and use it more. And if you guys want to pick up yours, I'll leave some links down in the description for you to go head over and pick it up. While you're there, you can look at all the other products that Razer has. We've got the vest as well that I've been using now for a few months, and I like that a lot compared to other packs and vests that I've had and used. It's everything that they've got, all of their gear is thought out so well and so practical. You can't really go wrong with any of that. So go pick up yours and see what it has.